There we go. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephen Traxel. I'm the pastor of Grace Apostolic Church. Sorry, I say that twice. All right. So, Genesis chapter 1, we find that God notices that Adam was alone. Therefore, he makes an helpmeet for Adam, which was Eve. God knew that two was better than one, and so he designed from Adam's side a woman, and she would help him meet the requirements of the tasks of taking dominion and authority over God's creation and living that way. God understood it's what is it? Teamwork makes the dream work. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
You can do more with a friend than you can by yourself. Okay, so finding someone to pray with, finding someone to talk to, finding someone to pour into, and let them pour into you. It's always better. And of course, God's design was with Adam and Eve that Eve would be the partner on Adam's team. So God developed a team around Adam, and it started with his wife, who was Eve. Of course, we know that they were equipped with success, they were equipped with wisdom, they were equipped with everything they needed to run God's kingdom. They had the wisdom, they had everything going their way. They were living in paradise, it was great. But we know things changed pretty quickly in Scriptures. In chapter 3, Brother Jim, chapter 3, 6, and 7. Read that for us.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Okay, so here we see a change in the dynamics between Adam and Eve and God. They're now sinners. They're now disobedient. They're now trying to cover up their shameful sin. And of course, I always say that the fig leaves weren't a skin issue. They were a sin issue. And so they're trying to cover up that internal thing they could not cover with fig leaves.
Of course, this was before the fall.
What's that?
The fig leaves would have been embarrassing in the fall.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yes, before the fall of the year, right? Not before the fall of man, before the fall of, yes. So we know that everything changed in their dynamics of their relationship, how they looked before God, how God saw them. And so we know today, in 2018, we are a long way from paradise, okay? There's many layers of things on us that Adam and Eve in the beginning of the garden did not have to deal with, that we are dealing with today because of the fall of Adam and Eve. We are living in an imperfect world. We're trying to be as perfect as we can. We're trying to be led by the Holy Ghost, but we know we're living in an imperfect world. But the thing that still holds true is the principles of relationship between men and women, or as I'm speaking about today, between husband and wife, in the presence of God is still the same. We must still work together. Okay, we still are a teammate. My wife is not my enemy. Okay, she's my best friend. She's the one that watches over me. So we have to realize we're only going to succeed when we work together as a husband and wife team. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is this night for this class, we're going to be focusing on the husband and wife team. Although I know that many people that are maybe in the discipleship class or are going to be watching this, they may not be married, but a lot of the principles that we're talking about are still going to hold true to you as well, even if you're not married yet. But maybe if you're not married yet and you're looking for somebody, maybe you can apply these principles to who you're looking for in the future for you to marry. So many principles still apply. Because of sin in the world, there are a lot of outside pressures that are put on us. Outside pressures that had this not happened in the garden, we might not have to deal with. But because of it, we have outside pressure, but not all outside pressure is bad. Sometimes pressure is good. Sometimes pressure keeps you get up in the morning and praying. Sometimes pressure helps you to stay strong and stay sharp because of the pressure on the outside. But the thing is, if you can put God in the center of your life, you'll be successful regardless of how much pressure falls on you. You know, the Lord said He would put more on you than you can bear. We know that there's no weapon formed against us shall prosper. These are in the Word of God. So we know that no matter what the pressure is, if we keep Christ the center of our life, we are going to succeed in this walk with God. Today's topic, as I've said, is on balancing family, work, and ministry. Okay, and I appreciate that Brother Fanson thought we could do this. We're still learning ourselves, and there's no perfect science to this. You just get up every day and you put your pants, as me, I put my pants on one leg at a time and keep on going to work. So on the board, I looked up the word balance, and the word balance means an even distribution of weight enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. An even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. Have you ever worked in a restaurant and you had to carry a water and you only had water on one side? On the plate, very, very unbalanced. Okay? Now, Brother Fanta always has cool Greek things on this, so I don't have that, but I've got pictures here. So I make up for it with my pictures. I'm truly a gifted artist. And so what we're going to do here is we're gonna here's a quiz here. Show me the person that's balanced and show me the face that's unbalanced. How many think this guy's balanced? No.
Yeah.
How many think this guy's balanced?
No.
You don't want to be this guy, okay?
No.
You want to be this guy. So when you're balanced, you can look like this no matter what the storm looks like. When you're unbalanced, every situation makes you do this.
Right.
When you're unbalanced, the molehill or the mole mound looks like a mountain. Right? It makes it because you're unbalanced. But when you're balanced, you're walking with God, you can be in the worst of storms looking like this because you're balanced no matter where you're at. And that's the strength of being balanced. So this topic has been me and my wife's life for over 17 years now. And although we're still learning the process of being balanced as husband and wife, pastor, business owner, and parents, we're still learning this every day. But we do have some experience because of time. And time has allowed us to experience some things that maybe some people our age have not yet experienced because of our being in the position we're in, that the Lord has blessed us with, that we've been able to experience some things.
Can you just, for the people that will be
yes.
watching it later, can you tell them what kind of business that you
So
started and that you
I
still own?
own a barbershop. I came out of Bible school back in 2000 or 1999, and I started working as a barber in a barbershop in Birmingham, Michigan. Started that in 2001, and then in 2007 I purchased the barbershop, and I still own it today. We have 7 barbers that work for us, and I still work one day a month. Someone's got to work hard, so I work one day a month. But I transferred from there to be at the church full time to be the pastor here. But for many years I was doing both. I was pastoring and working 35 to 40 hours plus a week there at the barbershop, burning the candle at both ends. So I'm just thankful for God's blessing to allow me to do that, but also to be where I'm at today.
So you
as
have
well.
11 years experience of doing all three.
11 years, yes.
Yeah.
I'm doing all 3 together.
That's good.
So life has not always been easy for us, but it has been rewarding, has been fulfilling, but there is definitely no perfect science to a balanced life. If you're waiting for me to say, oh, these are all the right answers, my life is my life and your life is your life, and so we can simply tell you some things that we do, some things that we process, and maybe if it's something that can help you, that's what we're here for. Okay?
Well, and essentially every day, a balanced life looks different from the day before or from what the next day is going to look like.
Yeah.
Because it changes.
Right.
Literally day to day. So a balanced life this day, how we balanced it this day is going to be different than how we balance it this day.
You have to improvise and adapt.
Absolutely.
Right. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 12. 2 Corinthians 10, maybe I can get that. 2 Corinthians 10. Someone get that already? You got it? Wow. Bible sword drill champ over here. Hello.
I did it,
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
we were there already.
Okay, then give us, then someone find 1 Corinthians 12, 14 through 18 then too, okay?
Got it?
Cheating if it's on the board.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 12. Brother Pitt, you got that still, 2 Corinthians? Did I make you lose it? Oh, did I make you lose it? Someone else get 1 Corinthians 12, 14 through 18, and then Brother Pitt, 2 Corinthians 10 and 12.
Okay, I got 1 Corinthians.
Yeah, 2 Corinthians 10 and 12.
For we dare not to make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves, and comparing themselves among themselves, are not wise.
Okay, so Paul is talking about other teachers coming in, trying to say, oh, we've got these degrees and we're so smart. And Paul's saying it's unwise for people to compare themselves among themselves. I'm not going to try to compare my ministry to their ministry because I come in the power of God and, this way. But so I'm not going to try to compare myself. And he tells us, to us, this is a very important idea that Paul's trying to relate to us today that we need to get into our heads, okay? He's telling us, he's warning us not to compare ourselves to the standards of other people. That is the worst thing you can do, is compare yourself to the standards of other people. And the reason is because if you compare yourself to the standards of other people, it will always give you a false sense of success or failure.
Amen. That's right.
Because if someone's way low and you look better than them, you think, wow, I'm really doing well. But if you compare yourself to somebody else, you're not doing good at all. But you look at one person who's maybe failed or done something wrong or whatever, wherever they're at, you say, wow, I'm so much better than them. This is the problem with the Pharisees. I'm so much better than them, and that gives you a false sense of where you are. And then you can look at someone that's so much above you or seems to be above you, because it's in your imagination they're doing so much better than you, and you compare yourself there, and God's saying, you're right where you need to be.
Amen.
So when we compare our own personal lives to everybody else's life around us, sometimes you feel my life is so crummy, and everyone's partying every day, everyone's life's a vacation every day, and my life is horrible. But Paul's saying, don't let what their life is doing hurt or affect what you're doing with your life, because all of us have different lives. All of us have different situations. We cannot try to be someone else that we're not. It's very important, as Paul says, that you were designed for something else. Jesus Christ is our measuring stick.
Amen.
You can't look at your neighbor, people in church that you go to church with. You must look at Christ every day. Let him be your center and say, Lord, you're my measuring stick. I want to look to you, who's the author and finisher of my faith. I look to you because you are the true measuring stick of my life, okay?
Amen.
This is something you need to understand, too, as being a married couple. A marriage consists of a husband and wife, two individuals. In this world, you are the only two individuals in the world, okay? So because there's only two of you, and you're each individuals, there's no one else like you in the world, there's nobody in the world that can have your marriage.
That's right.
There's nobody in this world that can be like you guys, because there's no other individuals like you. So when you put us two together, our combination, there's no other combination in all the world than what's standing right here.
7.5 billion attempts and still going to
You can't do it. Even if she had a twin, even if I had a twin, there's no one like us. The way we think, the way our mind is. Therefore, God can do something very special with us, but he can also do something special with somebody else, but it's not to be the same thing.
Right.
God designed us in our marriage and brought us together for a reason, because there's only two of us in this world. And so we can't compare ourselves with somebody else, because God made them different than us.
Right.
So it's a bad thing when we try to steal what they are, try to become what they are, when God says, I don't want you to be what they are, I want you to be what you are. And balance, we need to balance ourselves with what God has given us, not try to balance ourselves based on what other people are, what people think we should be. We've got to be comfortable in what God has made us.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be moving forward. Is there anything you want to say about that at all? Okay.
I have my notes.
Okay. And she can stop me, or she can add something whenever she wants. So no one else can live our life, because no one else can live your life because they're not you. You're the only one of you that God has ever made. And so that's very important to realize that. And so you have to live your life to bring glory to God the way he designed you. I'll say it one more time, you have to bring glory to God by the way he designed you. Live within the design that God designed you for. Okay? 1 Corinthians chapter, I didn't write this down, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Oh yeah, here we are. 14 through 18. Who has that? Do you?
I do.
I can read it.
All right, go for it.
For the body is not one member but many. For the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body. Is it therefore not of the body? And if the ears shall say, because I am not an eye, I am not of the body. Is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? But now hath God set the members, every one of them, in the body, for it hath pleased him.
Okay, so there's no member of the body more important than anyone else. Okay? Because God designed each part of the body for its own purpose. Okay, if we're all big nose, can't see, all here, where's the seeing? So God designed in the body that all of us, every part of your body has a specific role and purpose to play. And the same way with God's body in the church. We all are meant by God for a certain design and a certain work to do. Not all the same thing. That's why even Paul says, does everyone have a psalm? Does everyone have a prophecy? Does everyone have a, that's not the way it works. We all are designed by God to do our own work. And so we have to live within the design that we've been designed for. Okay, if you're a football cleat, you're going to be a terrible tap dancing shoe. Okay, you can't. They didn't design football cleats to tap dance.
Right.
They didn't design tap dance shoes to go out there in the gridiron and play football. When you find out what you are, you do that to the best of your ability. And don't try to be something you're not.
Right.
Because if you do, you're going to be unbalanced trying to live someone else's life. When God's saying, I don't want you to live that life. I want you to live in the life that you have been designed for.
So when we first got married, the impression was very much so that I needed to be able to sing or play the piano, because I knew that he was a minister when I married him. I knew he was going to be a pastor, and that was very much the stereotype of what a pastor's wife should be.
Yeah.
And I am none of those things.
It's better.
And so I realized very early on, way before we ever got married, I'm not going to be a singer. I really have no desire to be a singer, so I don't even
piano.
or play the piano, or
Yeah.
I mean, I would have loved to play the piano, but and I would love to have those abilities, but I don't have those abilities. So when I prayed whether or not I should even marry a preacher or somebody who's they're called to be a pastor, that was one of my things. What am I to do? Am I going to be a good balance to him? Am I going to be a good helpmeet for him in his ministry? Because ultimately that's what I wanted to do. I want to do this. I love him, but at the same time I want to be in your will, and I don't want to be a hindrance or not a benefit to him either. So very early on I prayed, and the Lord gave me confidence in myself and who he created me to be, and feeling confident that I have attributes and I have qualities that will be beneficial to somebody who's a pastor and in the ministry. And I felt very confident in that, and very confident in going into a marriage with somebody that was going to head down. Well, he was already a minister, but doing that. And I don't sing, I don't play the piano, but I can organize and I plan and I do a lot of things,
tons of stuff.
behind the scenes work, which I'm perfectly fine with, that I do know is an attribute, and I'm not saying that to my own horn, but I'm saying you have to be confident in who you are, who God created you to be,
Right.
and recognize that who you are in the body. Because we all can't be the singers, and we all can't be the pastor, and we all can't be the preachers, and we all can't be those things, but we have a place and we have a purpose. And when you can have that confidence, that only strengthens your relationship and your ministry of whatever you're doing, that you know with confidence that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing for the kingdom.
And then she can add to the team. She adds
Right.
the team, knowing where her place is and knowing where my place is, knowing how we work together as a team. That I refer to her for many things that I know I couldn't do, that I give to her because she's got that mind to be able to categorize everything and get it all together. I'm like a painter. I throw paint everywhere. I say, how does that work out? She can organize it. That's kind of how it works. So finding your place is great. But let me say this: as a couple, let's say you're a couple, or let's say you're even you're a single person, whatever it is. If there's a couple or a family or a marriage or a husband and wife team that you really respect and admire, okay, you don't have to be them. But maybe for your own good, maybe you can call them up and ask them out to dinner and spend some time with them.
You can learn from them.
Learn
without
from
being
them. Not being them, but you
Right.
can
Learn from them.
put your pride down and say, you know what, we really want to, me and my wife really noticed that you guys are doing a lot of good works and you guys are doing a lot of good things. And we admire what you guys do, and we know we can't be you, but maybe you can share with us kind of some things. And if the team or if the couple is honest, they may even roll back the surface success and kind of show you the back workings, the backlogs of what they maybe had to go through to get to where they are. Because again, I want the patience of Job. Do you really want the patience of Job? You got to go through what he went through. So when you see success, or you see someone standing somewhere, you have to realize they've probably gone through so many things before they got that ministry or before the Lord started dealing with them in the giftings and these things. So it's good to maybe, if instead of just being jealous of somebody, say, you know what, I don't want to be jealous. I don't want to wish or covet what they have. I want to know more about how they got there.
Yeah.
And that's something I would say to do, is maybe talk to a couple or talk to a minister, somebody that you respect, and get their perspectives on things, and then maybe able to help. Dana and I were married in 2001. Of course, it was the same. We came home from our honeymoon. It was the same week I started my job at the barber shop. It was my first major real job. I had several jobs. I was only 23 years old. My wife was 20, and she turned 21 on her honeymoon, so we were just kids. So I had random jobs here and there, but my first major job was, I actually worked at another barbershop for 6 months, and then finally, when we were getting ready to get married, I got a phone call to work at this barbershop, which is a huge blessing for us. And so 2001, we got married, started my job. Things were going well, and so we spent the next 5 years of our life after marriage as dinks. Okay? You guys know what dinks are?
Double income, no kids.
Yeah, dual income, no kids. So for 5 years of our life, I was 23, she was 21, dual income, no kids. I was working as, I was youth pastor, but I also had a great job at the barbershop, and so it was going well. I had a great job. My wife had a good job. She was a paralegal. Yeah, you did
Well, I
paralegal
was an
for-
office manager for physical therapy while I was going to school to be a paralegal,
Yes.
and then I worked as a paralegal.
Yeah, she was working in an office, and then she became a paralegal. I was doing paralegal work for a while. We were in charge of the youth group, youth pastor. Youth group was solid. Probably had running 50, 55 kids at the time. Things were going good there. We were young. We had lots of energy. We had lots of time, and we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. My plan for as youth pastor is, I always said, I always want to have fun and bring everyone along with me. That's how we run our show. So ideas, nothing was too off the table. Trips, going places here and there. So we had a lot of good time. It was fun. And then then we became parents, which is also rewarding and great, but different than when we first got married. So we became parents to 3 beautiful children in 2006,
But hold on,
2008,
pause.
2011. Okay.
Okay, so saying all of that, that was our plan. We had a plan, because that's very important to balance, and balancing anything that you're balancing, you have to have a plan. Now the plan may change from what you have, okay, and that's okay, but you do have to have a plan in order to be successful at doing anything and balancing anything properly. So we knew when we got married that we wanted to wait 5 years before we had kids. That was what we said. We always had said we wanted to wait 5 years. Now, that could have happened sooner. Things happened, but it didn't. We stuck to our plan. We waited the 5 years, and then we said, well, we went to Florida, and we were thinking about taking my niece at the time, and we're like, if we're thinking about taking a kid with us on our vacation, we're probably ready to have kids. And that was like right at about our 5-year mark, and so then we had started having kids.
Yep. And so because we're talking about balance for our life had to change. We can't hope to be the same people with
Right.
now kids. We can't just go on keep on going as fast as we're going and try to balance kids. It's not going to work that way. Therefore, our roles and responsibilities changed as people, okay, and our balancing began to change in a different direction. No longer was our first responsibility the youth group anymore. At that point in time, it was me and her, and then we loved our youth group. We loved the kids. But when we became parents as a team, we were no longer our number one focus being on the youth group with our spare time, but now it was on our children. Okay, we're now balancing in a different direction. Still balancing well, okay, but in a different direction. Let me say this: a well-balanced person has clear lines of where their responsibilities are and where they are in line with their life. Okay, a well-balanced person has clear lines of where their responsibility is and in which order it is in their life. It should be very clear where certain things fall in your life. If you don't have clear lines and everything's kind of blurred over me being a father, me being a business owner, me being a husband, me being a pastor, me being a friend, if I don't have clear, distinct lines in my life and everything just hodgepodge comes and goes, I'm going to fall out of balance very quickly, because you cannot offer everything everyone wants from you at the same time. You can't. You've got to know where your balance is. You've got to know where your responsibility is, and you've got to be okay to say no. It's okay to say no. Yes, we're
Can you say that one more time? Well-balanced person has clear lines.
has clear lines, and they know where the responsibilities line up in their life. They know where the responsibilities are. Knowing the number one responsibility to the last responsibility. Because if you treat everybody the same, all your responsibilities the same, guess what? All your responsibilities are not the same. My responsibility to the church is not the same as my responsibility to my kids or to my wife. Guess what? My responsibility to God is greater than my responsibility to my wife. But you better realize where your lines are. You cannot, you got it, because if you don't, you're not going to balance these things, and you're just going to be tossed by everything that comes your way. Everything's going to be a huge deal. I got to take care of this. And you're frazzled, wondering, how did I get to this guy? How did I become this guy? I was happy at one time, 5 years, no kids, and all of a sudden I'm just going crazy because we forgot how to change our mindset and our priorities when other things are brought into our life. We wanted to have kids, and we understood in order to have kids, some things are going to have to change for us in order to accommodate these kids. I told someone, I said, the first kid was okay for me. The second kid was a little harder, because when I come home from the barbershop, what I could do is I'd call the guys from the church. I had a weight set in my basement. I'd say, oh, come on over, let's work out after I get out of work. Well, then when we had our second kid, she's like, that ain't going to work now. You got to take one of these kids. So when I'd come home from work, I no longer could go right down to the weight room. She'd been with 2 kids all day. She's ready for me to do the handoff, football handoff. You got to take one of these kids. So I realized I couldn't just keep doing what I was doing as a dad of 2.
And her second one was a screamer. So.
Yeah, and keep things cordial between me and her. That was going to be the case, okay?
So a happy marriage.
Right, so I had to learn my new lines. It's okay for lines to change. Just because it's set this way for a month or 2 or a year or 3, if something else comes in your life, you have to be okay to change lines and change your perception of where you are in life, to remain balanced. Because life's always going to change, but you can remain balanced by keeping your lines clear of what the responsibilities in your life. And so, my balance for me is God, family, ministry, and work. That's my God, family, ministry, and work. I did say God, family, church, and work, but it's ministry. Church is part of my ministry, so I didn't say work. So to me, church and ministry to me go together. Now some people may disagree. Some people say, well, I think God, family, work, then ministry, because you have to make a living. Well, I understand that, but we're talking about us.
And plus also, Jesus said that seek first the kingdom of God.
Right.
And if you put your work before your ministry, then you're not doing that part of it. But if you put
Yeah.
the ministry first, then God is obligated to provide the work.
Yeah. So, and I said that to me because I chose barbering to help with my ministry.
Yeah.
That's why I chose my work.
Yeah.
And I told the youth group when I was a youth pastor, don't let some minimum wage job keep you from ministry and church.
Yeah, that's right.
Because God will give you the job you need, and you'll never have to miss a day. You'll never have to miss an opportunity to be a minister or whatever. I said, if you work hard, they're going to want you. If you work hard, they're going to give you Wednesdays off. If you work hard, but you got to work hard and because they're going to want you, because they see how important you are. If you work for Jesus, they'll say, hey, give him Fridays off, man. We need that guy on our staff. So, I chose barbering to help with my ministry. So my first goal was ministry, then work, and so the Lord gave me more than I could ever hope for. One thing that we must learn in our life to remain balanced is in every stage of your life, your ministry will change. Your ministry will change. This has been kind of a hard one for me. It really has, and I'll be honest with you here, because I still have these expectations of what I want to see, and sometimes it's hard because you don't see them. But then I've got to look at what I'm doing and how busy I am. That sometimes, because of where I'm at, these expectations are not realistic with where I am in life, because my life is changing. Okay. And so your ministry will change, and you have to be okay with that. You've got to be balanced in that situation and realize time will happen, and you will have some more opportunities when life changes, okay? Your expectations for yourself should change as well. Be balanced with where you are. Say it's okay for me to say no. I can't do that right now because I've got a wife and 3 kids, so it's okay for me. I can't go on that mission trip. I can't go on to that conference. I can't. Some people, their only vacation is conferences.
It's not a vacation.
That's not a vacation. No, that's not.
Yeah.
But you got to be okay with saying that. You got to be okay with saying, I can't go to general conference. We're going to Florida for a vacation, and you can't feel guilty about that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to get ahead of myself in that.
Okay, and just talking about saying no, there's a balance in that as well. So we're talking about balance.
Right.
So some people will say no to everything. Everything. You ask them to do this, no, I can't do that, I'm too busy, or no, that's going to interfere with our family time, or no. And then you start to think, you're like, well, what exactly do they do? That they feel that they have to say no to everything.
Yeah.
And when you really stand back and look at it, you can become so protective of your family or your personal time or your balance that you feel is your balance, that you're absolutely saying no to everything, and then you're really not being
Balanced.
balanced.
Yeah.
So you can do it on the opposite side of that too, and that was
Right.
something that I have noticed, and a lot of times I notice it in women who have children, that they will say no to a lot of things, and they, in my opinion, are really using their kids as excuses, because I've done everything. I've taught Sunday school, I've spoke at ladies' conferences, I've done work at the church, I've done everything with my kids. We taught Sunday school, I would bring my kids bouncer while we were decorating our new classroom, stick him in a bouncer, he's bouncing away while we're decorating our Sunday school room. There are ways to do it. But again, there's balance. I don't want my kid at church every single night, all day long. Okay,
That's not
that's
good either.
balance.
Yeah.
Okay, but you can't use a lot of, it can go the opposite way in the saying no specifically, that people will say no to everything. Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Well, what can you do?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And what are your kids learning about ministry then?
Exactly.
That's
Right.
what you're-
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're home all the time with your kids, and you're spending, we were good parents because we spent quality time with our kids at home being a family, but they don't know about ministry.
Right.
So they've lost that whole aspect. That's not a good parent. That's not showing them
Right.
how to give of
Balance
yourself
life.
and give of your time and give of your, and we're talking about discipleship. So
Yeah.
we should,
Right.
we look at things differently because of our need to want to draw close to Christ and be more servants for Him every day. So I recognize, and we're talking about I'm talking still about being okay with where you're at. So our life today looks different than when we were just married, 5 years without kids, and now we have 3 kids, 12, 10, and 7, and then it's going to look different again in 20 years when hopefully our kids are out of our house. I'm sure they'll be out of our house in 20 years.
Yes.
It'll be
Yeah.
Catch 27. Hopefully he's out of our house. Hey, 27, So it's going to look differently, and guess what? My ministry will change it again then. I will be a different pastor in 20 years than I am today. If I'm still pastor, God's will, that be the will. I will be a different, because my time will change. I can look at someone else without kids and say, boy, I wish I could do what they're doing because they don't have any kids. They got time. Boy, I wish I could do, well, they're grandparents. They can get up and do whatever they want. They can leave whenever they want and do whatever they want. They have no kids. They don't have to be at 3 o'clock picking their kids up from school. And I've got to be okay with that, and I've got to realize that where I'm at is okay. And it's okay to say no. It's okay to be balanced where I'm at, being a good father, being a good husband, and being the best pastor I can be at the same time, but being balanced and not trying to have someone else's life and my expectations to meet with where they're at because I'm not there. And so sometimes because of your priorities, it's okay to say no. If you want to prioritize and be balanced, you're going to have to say no to some things. Every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Okay, so my question is, what are you saying yes to, and what are you saying no to? If you're a married husband with 3 kids and a wife, it's probably not a good idea for you to hang out with your single friends all the time. But I really like to. We have a lot of fun. Well, you know what? Your life is not their life, and they have time. They don't have responsibility. So if you're trying to live their life, you made a wrong decision about getting married and having kids because that life is going to change. And so because you prioritize yourself because I prioritize myself as a husband to be a husband and to have kids, I have to make appointments to see my friends now. I make appointments. I say, hey guys, in 2 weeks, on Friday from 7 to 9, let's go hang out. And that's very rare. I wish we could get out more often, but time is so, you just don't have time. So you literally have to make appointments. It's not just like these guys that work all day and then they have these golf leagues. I don't know how they stay married. I don't know how they prioritize and balance it, because that's not balanced, if you ask me. So, so it's important. So let's say this now. It's important as a team, as a couple, for me and my wife. It's important for us as a team that we discuss regularly, on a regular basis, on the amount of time that you're willing and allow yourself to spend away from your family. Okay, because we're talking about balancing a family and work and marriage. You need to converse and talk with your teammate how much time you're willing to spend away from your family. Okay? And that's important because sometimes if you have a bills and you get a chance to work overtime, it's good to work overtime. And that's fine. That's good as long as I'm able to talk to my wife about it and we say, listen, we got a lot of bills, you got some overtime, that's great. But if I just assume that overtime is what she wants because she wants more money all the time, and I don't talk to her about it, that's a bad situation to be in. You better talk about it. Now, because sometimes it's okay to say no to the money because you've not been home a lot.
Yeah.
And you've not seen each other a lot. So it's important that you talk about what kind of, go ahead, apologize. My son is calling my wife on the phone, so we're okay.
Well, she's prioritizing.
Yeah, she's prioritizing, yeah, talking to my son. So it's important to talk about your work schedule. It's important to talk about how much overtime on work you're going to work. It's important to talk about your hobbies. Well, I really like to go out with the guys and go bowling every, no offense against any bowlers, but Thursday's my night to bowl. It's what I do. Okay, well, you're really busy all week long, and now you're going to still do bowling and yet not give any time to your family. Have you talked to your wife? Have you talked to your husband about it? Where are you in your time? What about your ministry? Hello. But I'm doing it for God. But listen, there is no ministry that's successful if you lose your family over your ministry.
Amen. Come on.
That is
That's
not
the
the
truth.
will of God.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
the
don't
truth.
I don't know, and I would hate to say this, but you see so many pastors whose children have backslidden. They're bitter, they're hurt, they're jaded by ministry, and I wonder if it is that pastors, thinking they're good pastors, have put so much time in their ministry that they've not balanced the time they were to be with their kids as their father. And so any ministry you're doing that's hurting your marriage is not the will of God for you. So you need to reassess and think about, am I balanced? Am I doing the right thing? Am I spending too much time away from my family? Am I spending too much time with my family and not enough time with my ministry? Because it is okay to also let ministry come in and break up family time sometimes. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Me and my wife have talked about non-negotiables in our relationship. There are just certain things that are non-negotiables. There's certain things, now of course she may be able to say a couple of non-negotiables that we have in our marriage that keep us maybe balanced, if you know anything off the top of your head, by chance. And we talked about non-negotiables in our marriage to keep us balanced. If not, it's okay.
We try to, like, on Mondays to keep at least like one day where we're really trying to not do anything.
But now Mondays are what? Mondays for us are now what at our house?
Oh, well, Mexican Mondays, that's right.
So now Mondays are Mexican
So now we
Monday.
have
Hang on, you have Mexican Mondays and Taco Tuesday?
Well, no,
No.
Taco Tuesday's changed.
Because see,
Clear lines, clear
yes, we had to adjust
Yeah.
our schedule, so
Because now we've got
Tuesdays
band lab on Tuesdays, so our
Yeah.
kids learn.
and
so they're
Bible
ch-
quizzing and
Our kids have Bible quizzing and band lab on Tuesday, so therefore we can't do Taco Tuesday, so we have now Mexican Monday.
we're trying to balance.
And it's an opportunity for us to bring some neighbors to our house,
Yeah.
let them know we're having food coming over, trying to reach our neighborhood. That's what we do. So yes, rigid lines, clear lines, balanced lines, but at the same time, I believe that being flexible helps things from breaking. Okay? You can be flexible. If you're flexible, you're not going to break. It's okay in the ministry, in life, to be flexible.
Yeah.
With everything. Everything's flexible. At some point, to a certain degree, everything is okay to flex. Okay? If it's so rigid and it's and that you're talking about like, oh, we won't do it, people don't want to sign up to volunteer. They don't want to because I don't know what I'm doing. Be flexible. If we say, okay, we need volunteers in 3 weeks, well, I got to check my schedule. Be flexible. I mean, we're giving you a half a year to figure out, okay, we need some volunteers for block party next summer. Oh, I don't know, I got to check my schedule. Put that in your schedule. Be flexible.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
And some people are so rigid they're not willing to flex. It is okay, and this is where ministry comes in. It is okay when certain needs arise in your ministry that you accommodate your ministry in your plans, even if it wasn't part of your plans. Okay? It's okay to go into ministry mode even if it wasn't part of your plans. Paul, looking at Timothy, be instant in season, out of season. There are times when it wasn't the season that you thought for ministry, but when the need arises, Jesus even looked at his mother and says, what have I to do with you, woman? They need wine. It's not my time's not yet. Whatever he says, do it. He wasn't the season he thought, but he knew now it's time to step up and do this first miracle. So it's okay to be flexible with your family time, personal time when ministry arises. So if that's the case, these are some things that we must do when someone calls you for an emergency. I know Brother Fancy does a great job contacting, talking to people, helping people, praying with people. But these are some things that we need to look at when you're responding in ministry during a time when you weren't expecting it. Family time, vacation time, whatever it is. First thing you need to do when someone brings you an emergency on the phone. Brother Steve, I'm in need. This is my situation. First thing is you need to assess the situation. Okay? They brought you their situation. You need to look at the big picture and assess the situation. First question you have to ask yourself, is this an actual emergency? Okay? Because some people, if they can, will eat up your time for their emergency. Some people, their emergency should be everyone's emergency. I got a sliver. I want everyone to know. What do I do? I got a sliver. And guess what? Your emergency might not be my emergency. Even if I'm the pastor, your emergency might not be my emergency. So as a pastor, you get someone on the phone and they call you. I've dealt with some people and they ask some crazy things, and we've dealt with some families and they're crazy things, and I'll sit there for 15, 20 minutes, and I'll never get it back again. I'll never get that 20 minutes back, and guess what? I've given them over and over information, and they don't take it, and they call me again in 2 weeks, and at some point, like, listen, your emergency is not my emergency right now. Everything I've told you, you didn't accept it anyways. So you have to assess the situation. Is this a true emergency? Brother Danny Johnson.
There's a saying that says that your lack of planning does not constitute a crisis in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just about planning.
Yeah.
Have a plan with
Yep.
life.
Yep.
Brother Danny Johnson, a great pastor in Auburn Hills, he has a good church, but he talked about someone called him from his church and said, Pastor, I have an emergency. Sister, what is it? We are all out of Tylenol, and I've got a headache. Do you mind running to the CVS and get me some Tylenol? One of the saints of the church asked the pastor, would you mind going to get me some Tylenol? If you don't curb some things, and you don't protect your time, and let's get now, Brother Fancy, he'd go get him some time. I know this man would go get him some time. But if you were to do it for every person that needs them, guess what? Everyone's going to know whatever you need right away, he's going to go do it for you. And all of a sudden, it's almost like they use you they'll use you because you're a good, nice person, because you don't say no. All of a sudden they use you, not because they really want to be ministered, but because they don't want to do it themselves. Therefore, they know someone's willing to, because they love God so much, they just want to be a pleaser of people, so they'll just use you for whatever, because, hey, I need to move my bed. Brother Steve, move my bed for me.
And you are partially at fault as well, because you're enabling them by,
Oh, yeah.
Sis, what did we just talk about?
Yes.
Thank you. See, now, you just answered a prayer for Sister.
Yes,
Okay.
he did.
Yeah.
you're enabling them by continuously saying, yes, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So it's you,
Right. Yeah. And because you're continuing on with that situation, right?
Exactly.
So you assess the emergency. How bad of an emergency is it? Someone just had a heart attack, they're in the hospital. Okay, we go right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Turkey's hot, mashed potatoes are hot. It's Thanksgiving Day, but guess what? Someone had a heart attack, you go right now.
Yeah.
Situations like that. So once you assess the situation, the second question you have to ask yourself is, because you're still at home, can the situation be taken care of over the phone? Because we're talking about trying to be balanced. If you were to take every situation and just drive to where they are, unfortunately, most people that have situations, they never live close to you. It's never your neighbor right down the
This is
street.
like our maybe particular issue.
Well, I'm in a hospital. Okay, where's your hospital? Oh, I'm in Louisiana. Can you come pray for me? Pretty much, hospitals, everyone has a hospital.
Well, yeah, we do like a little dance when they're like close.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
at Royal
Royal
Oak
Oak, like,
Bowl.
yes! I mean, not that they're in a hospital, but yes, because realizing it's all about your time too.
Right.
And if you have to drive somewhere,
Traffic.
it's traffic, whatever time it is, it's 25 minutes to get there.
Doesn't matter.
And then when you get to their home, it's not just a quick prayer, because you talk and you minister, and then it's 25 minutes back. By the time you get back, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock. That happens. So can I pray for you over the phone? Can we talk? I don't want you to think I don't love you, but is this a situation where you need face-to-face contact, or can we talk about this over the phone? And 3, you can ask them, can we plan to meet about the situation on a different time and a different date? Why is that good? Because it gives you the chance to get with God and say, Lord, before we have this meeting, before I even know what it's about, Lord, give me some wisdom on the situation. Begin to deal with me now so that when we meet, I can tell them. Because, listen, unbalanced people give answers they think sounds good at that moment in time. A balanced person thinks about it.
Yeah, amen.
I know this is one thing that's kind of doesn't drive her crazy. I don't say drive her crazy, but sometimes something will happen to church. I don't respond right away. It might be a huge deal to some people, but I'm like, listen, if I respond right now, while everyone's tizzy, you gotta let it settle down, think about it for a while, and then think about what the right answer is, because I don't want to be unbalanced based on the situation.
Yeah.
Oh, a situation I'm unbalanced. No, you want to walk steady, be balanced, let the Lord, give it to the Lord. A lot of times the situation the Lord will take care of before you even have to deal with it if you let Him work. Because it's His church. As ministers and His disciples, you're trying to help people get close to Jesus, but the person you're working with, if they have the Holy Ghost should work on them too.
Well,
And
that's
so
a
you
trait
can't-
I'm working on. I want to be more
Yeah, well, yeah.
not like that and just.
But it's easy to respond at that time because
Right.
you know that person deserves to get knocked upside the head, but you can't do that. You know.
And remember, as disciples and disciplers, we are a supplement to the Holy Ghost. We are not to do the work of the Holy
Yes.
Ghost. All we are is a supplement. We are something that God will use in order to further His agenda in their life. We're just a tool. And some people want to be their Holy Ghost, and we can't be the Holy Ghost.
I'm not your Jesus.
That's right.
Yeah, so again, it's enabling them if you always answer their questions. And a lot of times, they don't want to ask the people that they know are going to give them the truth. They want to ask the people that are going to accommodate what they really already want to do.
Yeah.
They already have a plan. They want to tell you about it because they don't want you to tell them yes or no. They're just going to tell you. They may ask you, but they really already have a plan put in place. So give you some time to pray. Assess it. Is it an emergency? Do I need to go right now? Most of the time, it's not a dire emergency. Sometimes it's okay to say, I'll pray for you. I'll be praying for you, you know. I was going to go see Sister Carolyn. She's okay. She said she's okay. She's sleeping. Pray for her. We're praying for her. Okay? And knowing that prayers work. Prayers work when I'm here and someone else is over there. It's amazing how prayer works like that.
She knows that.
Yeah.
Like I said, she was very confident in prayer from everyone was what she needed.
Yeah.
She didn't need anybody there.
Right.
Yeah.
She knows what God.
Right, and then you can set a time to meet with them because you want to try to balance your schedules that way. We'll be, it's almost 8. What time do you usually close? 8:30?
8:30, yeah. I mean,
We'll be done a little bit.
Whenever
if you're
we're
done
done.
before that, yeah.
Okay. And then if you have any questions, we can, or if she wants to say anything as well. Balancing, you must have vacations. You must have vacations. You must have a break. You must have a couple days. Oh, sorry. This is important.
Shelley
This
does the
is-
same thing to me. Good Lord, Everest.
It's so important.
Very
I'm
distracting
adding
for
that.
listeners.
You must take time for vacations for yourself, okay? You must, if you're going to go, go. Don't say, well, I'm going to go and stay and do, because you're still accessible, okay? And you're trying to stay away from that because you want to have some downtime. You want to have some time to rest your brain. You want to go someplace where you can hang out with just your wife or your kids and just be able to get away and rest your mind. And then when you can be rested, you come back ready to serve the church. You can be revived, and don't feel bad about going on vacation. Don't feel bad that you took a week or a week and a half off. Don't feel bad because a lot of times we're in the trenches. If you're in the trenches as a disciple every day, praying, seeking, trying to minister, man, that wears you out. And if you're doing that every day but you're not vacationing, listen, other people don't care about taking vacations. A lot of them, they get 4 or 5 weeks of vacation and they take it.
Yep.
And they don't feel bad about it. Their job gives it to them. They're gone. And so we can't feel bad about when we take vacation, and we don't have to explain ourselves to people. I just want to go on vacation. Where are you going? It doesn't matter. They don't have to know your personal agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay to go on vacations, but when you come back, you obviously don't take a vacation from God. I'm not talking about taking a vacation to live however you want to live, but go on vacation and get some time away. Incorporate. You want to be balanced as a family. Incorporate your whole family into your ministry. Okay? Don't leave your kids in the dark on the importance of what ministry is all about. Okay? My wife said that when we painted the classroom or decorated, my son was in the bouncer in the middle of it. I don't want to have me and my wife have a ministry, we do something, and my kids never know what we're doing. Because we leave them in the dark. Well, I want to protect them. You're not protecting them. You need to let them see what ministry is all about. So turn ministry into a family event, and it's so much more enjoyable when you can do it with your family. You know, when your kids can see. We had a Bible study not this Thursday but last Thursday with a couple. They've got a 2-year-old son, 3-year-old son, and it is impossible to get the truths across when she's shaking the baby and he's because they're focused all on the 2-year-old. So we told our kids, come downstairs, bring some toys, and keep their 2-year-old occupied while we're having a Bible study with mom and dad. My kids are learning the importance of Bible studies, ministry, even if it's just playing toys with their kid. They're getting the concept of what ministry is. So if you want to be a balanced parent, balanced disciple, balanced person, try to the best of your ability, bring your kids in with you in what you're doing in ministry.
They go to the hospital and
They
pray.
go to the hospital with us and pray with people. If it's a safe zone, obviously don't be stupid with take your kid to sit where someone's really sick, but they come to the hospital with us. We just try to show
them
them.
empathy too, and the importance of prayer, and that, you know, and Cecilia, like our daughter, she was even asking about one of the Mr. Van Warmer. She was asking, how is he doing? What, you know, and this was like probably a week or two later. She just asked me that the other day, and I said, oh, he's doing good. I said, see, our prayers were working. He woke up. You know, but you're teaching them. You're incorporating your children into that aspect of your ministry.
Right.
And you're letting them see the successes and failures of normal life.
Right.
Right.
And you're
Yep.
pouring the next generation the responsibility they have towards
Right.
ministry and towards the well-being of other people, and continuing on that generation, so there's no gap in between the generations. 2 last points I want to make for myself, and if my wife wants to add something. Ecclesiastes 9 and 10, and Colossians 3:23. Can someone get me those two? Okay, Ecclesiastes 9 and 10 says what?
Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest.
Okay, and then we have Colossians 3:23.
Whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord, and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ.
Whatever you do, do it mightily unto the Lord. If you work for the Lord. Whatever you do for the Lord. But Ecclesiastes says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Bottom line is, ministry is not for lazy people.
That's right.
We are not bottom feeders. You know what suckers do? No, suckers just sit at the bottom of a river, and they sit close to the river, and whatever trash comes down the river, they suck it up and eat it. Okay? We are not just, ministry is not just, oh, I'll sit in my couch and I'll watch my favorite show. If I get a phone call and someone needs help, I sure would love to minister. The Bible says